today's video, I want to talk about NFTs, or more specifically, I want to talk about what, in my opinion, is the future of NFTs, or how this asset class or this technology is going to evolve comparing to, well, where we've been over the last year and a half or so. As always, if you find this content helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and also if you'd like to learn more about crypto and NFTs, please do check out my course, Crypto Like a Pro. You can find more information about it in the description. But let's go back to the NFTs. So if you look back at 2021, 2022, essentially the beginning of NFTs, I know that the technology is slightly older than that, and there are a few projects which are older, but really the space hasn't really gained any traction, any major traction until sort of spring 2021. A lot of the projects were popular because either there was specific type of art, so we had pixel art, we had anime-inspired NFTs, we had women-led projects at some point, and so on and so on. Or there was some sort of airdrop or token promised. Originally, I think that started with cyberkongs, and then pretty much, maybe not all projects, but a lot of projects followed that template. Or there was some promise of merchandise, or maybe a game, but something not very clear, or various alpha groups. Like at some point, pretty much every NFT project was supposed to be giving you access to an alpha group. So suddenly all groups became alpha groups, or a DAO, and so on and so on. The main problem with all this stuff is that a lot of those promises were never really realized. I'm not saying that none of them were, but for the most part, well, let's be honest, people who are creating NFT projects were very often very inexperienced as business owners. Maybe they were very successful traders, maybe they were lucky, maybe they were very talented in some other area. I don't know, they could be good artists, programmers, and so on. But none of that makes them good, skilled, experienced business owners. Just because someone can, I don't know, trade really well doesn't mean that then they will be able to launch a successful project, or to be more specific, in a bull run, yes, they could launch a successful project because pretty much everything was pumping. But if that project, if that NFT project is not running as a proper business, if there are no constant streams of income, then of course eventually it will run out of money, it will all collapse. And the problem is that vast majority of NFT projects were funded by the mint, or the funds coming from the mint, and then royalties from secondary sales, which is all well and good when ETH is worth like $4,000 or $5,000. Volume is huge because everything is pumping, everything is in a bull run, and everyone is massively excited. But it doesn't work equally well when we enter many months of bear market. Ether plunges to $1,500 and the volume is close to none, because suddenly, well, if the business, if that NFT project was relying on the stream of income from royalties from the secondary sales, and those secondary sales were first slashed by over 2/3 because the value of ETH plunged, and then they were further slashed, I don't know, sometimes 90% or more because the volume went down, then, well, suddenly you have no cash flow. And you have no cash flow, then as soon as your money reserves are out, well, the project is done, right? And that's the big problem with many NFT projects. Basically, they are not proper businesses. So they may work well in a bull run, they can function in a bull run, but they have no potential to survive the bear market. So what's different now? How I think the space will evolve? Well, I think there's one key element that will be driving NFTs in the future, and that's utility. I'm sure this is not the only way NFT projects can be successful. There are plenty of other ways, sure, but I think this will be the main driving force behind NFTs. Because let's be honest, NFTs are not designed to, or their potential is not limited to trading JPEGs of animals on the internet, right? NFT can be pretty much anything, or pretty much anything can become an NFT, or NFT can represent pretty much anything. So the utility here is absolutely huge. And I think that's what will be driving their value of projects in the future, how well a project can utilize NFT as a technology And then therefore, well, that will be driving the value of that NFT up. We can already see this happening. I mean, NFTs already gaining more and more utility beyond just the typical Web3 community. California DMV, for example, is already trialing or planning to trial using NFTs as car title management system, and they're launching it on Tezos. Of course, this is just a trial, but still, I mean, we're talking here about an organization which is not typically associated with Web3, right? This is not Tesla, this is not Elon Musk, this is not some sort of Web3 startup. We're seeing basically NFTs spreading outside of the normal NFT closed bubble. But if we look at specific projects, well, I think there are more and more projects now appearing which are promoting really heavily NFTs as utility or utility-based NFTs, if that makes sense. One of my favorite ones is InPeak, and it started with the InPeak Genesis Pass, which is relatively expensive, but you can also get Trailhead Pass, which gives you temporary access. And as you can see, this one is very, very cheap. And more importantly, you can also get Gen 2 Pass, which is still pretty reasonably priced. And you can burn this one and you can get a Soulbound token, which gives you permanent or forever access to InPeak ecosystem. And the idea behind InPeak is to essentially become like LinkedIn of Web3, but LinkedIn which also has a ton of educational content. And I'm part of this community. And if you look at the upcoming sessions or on-demand sessions, I mean, there's just a ton of material there. It doesn't matter if you're a complete beginner or you already are quite experienced in Web3, you'll definitely find something interesting. And there's ton and ton of content. And also the community is absolutely brilliant. There's also that additional bonus of, regardless of the value of the NFT at the moment, think about it this way. How much potential benefit there is if you can join a platform like, let's say, LinkedIn or Instagram or anything else in its very, very early days. I mean, you can benefit hugely because, well, you are one of the early users of this platform. You will probably make some great connections. You will probably you'll probably get a lot of following if we use terms of, let's say, Instagram, right? You can probably essentially create a name for yourself, become recognizable on this platform. And it's far easier to do it when the platform is very young and there is hardly anyone using it, or well, hardly anyone. There are very few people there. Pretty much everyone knows everyone. It's relatively easy to build a name for yourself, to become recognizable. Once there are hundreds of thousands or millions of users on the platform, well, it becomes almost impossible. I'm sure everyone knows how hard it is to build following on a social media platform, especially when you're first starting. It's a really, really big struggle at the moment. But in early days, it was much, much easier because of what I've just said. And I think it's essentially there's the same potential now in Web3, right? So yes, the space is still very young. Yes, you could argue that there aren't that many use cases or there aren't that many people in that space, but that's exactly what makes it so valuable, because you can be early and you have to put an effort in, and for a while you probably won't see much in terms of benefits, but eventually the benefits will be absolutely huge because you were early and you started building in this space. You start building either a name for yourself or your business or your product, your service, whatever, before the masses joined it. So yeah, just one of the projects which I think are really, really interesting. Then another one which I really like is Other Side. Of course, this one is very, very well known, part of Yuga Labs. We'll see how it will all play out. The second trip to the other side, so the second tech demo, should be happening at the end of March, so in about 6 weeks from now. I'm really excited to see what they will do. It's the closest we've seen so far to a proper metaverse. The utility here is the metaverse, right? And of course, we still don't know how it will look like, but based on the first tech demo I've seen, based on all the information I heard so far, it sounds like, well, they have a chance of pulling it off, of actually creating something that's engaging, interesting, something that works really well, and something that will draw people in. And the idea is that you can actually build your own experiences within Other Side, like your own mini games, your own little platform structures, set up your business there. So we'll see how it will play out, but I think it's really, really exciting. I mean, if you ever tried Decentraland or Sandbox, there are some cool experiences there, but it's all still a bit clunky, a bit slow, and there isn't really that much going on. I think other side has the potential to change it, has the potential of actually becoming the first proper metaverse where people actually want to be and want to do stuff and want to stay there. But let's see how it goes. Again, it's that risk of being early and potentially not seeing much return for a while. But if you are right, if it turns out that yes, this is the next, I don't know, Instagram or whatever, next Facebook, then the value of being early is absolutely immense. And then the last project I want to talk about is SteadyStack. They launched their new website recently, very recently. You can find it at steadystacknft.com. And I talked about SteadyStack Titans a few times in the past. And this is an absolutely huge project. I got into it quite early. It's now, well, doing very, very well, close to 5 ETH. Or I've been oscillating around 5 ETH for a while now in deep bear market, which is really impressive, considering that their mint price was 0.08 ETH. But what's really interesting about SteadyStack is from day one, they provide a ton of value in their Discord. Straight away, everyone had access to the options trading course. There were various calls, first focused mainly on stocks, options, then also focus on NFTs, crypto, and so on. Really great community. It's just immense amount of value like delivered from day one, and then just they kept building more and more on top of that. And I mean, of course, one of the things that got a lot of people in early or got a lot of people interested was the algorithm, the trading algorithm they have, which you can either get for free if you have 10 Titans, or you can get a discount on it, or well, in the first place, you can access it only if you are a Titan. Absolutely huge project. What they are doing now is they're launching their second collection because, well, Titans are pretty much out of reach for most people, not only because of the price, but also if you look at the numbers here, they launched staking last week on Wednesday, and already, well, the supply was never very large. It is 2,125 Titans. But out of that, around 75% are already locked in a hard stake contract. So you cannot take your Titan out of that contract. You cannot unstake it. Basically, you have to wait the whole staking period in order to be able to sell it, transfer it, do whatever with it. And 75% of Titans out of those just over 2,000 are already staked. Not only that, over half of all Titans, or about 3/4 of staked Titans, are locked for 3 years. Now, just to put it into perspective, the whole NFT space only started gaining traction, as I said earlier, less than 2 years ago. Yet more than half of the owners of those stake their Titans for 3 years. And well, they're not exactly cheap assets, right? Even now in deep bear market, that's like, what, $7,500? Assuming that in the next 3 years, we'll have some sort of a bull run. Don't want to say that it's guaranteed because I don't like to be deterministic about anything when it comes to trading. But I think it's quite fair to assume that we will have some sort of a bull run. Well, this would be probably not only much higher floor price, but also ETH would be worth much more. I mean, imagine having like $20,000, $30,000, probably much more, staked for 3 years. Or in the case of many people, they have multiple Titans. Some of them have 10 of those or more. And yeah, you just cannot touch them because you believe that the team will be delivering enough value that it will be essentially worth it. And from what I heard and seen so far, it looks like there will be more than enough value to justify it. So yeah, this is one of those projects which I think are definitely worth keeping an eye on. And also soon they're launching their Gen 2 collection, SteadyStack Legends, which will be, of course, much more affordable. How much more, I don't know, but it's probably going to be your best chance to get into this ecosystem. So definitely something worth keeping an eye on. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say really. And once again, I think utility-driven NFTs will become absolutely huge. It's not to say that other projects won't be successful. Of course, there will be many other successful projects. And I'm sure, especially once the bull market is back on, well, of course, there'll be plenty of degen plays and yeah, all sorts of stuff will be selling really well. But in terms of looking for long-term value, if you want to actually either create something in this space or you're looking to invest in this space, and you're looking at projects, well, what's worth getting into? I think those utility-driven NFTs are the right play. Of course, there are other projects as well. I just mentioned a few here which I'm familiar with, which projects I'm personally invested in, and projects which I think will only start getting more and more value. Like I said, well, you have InPeak, which is, well, hopefully will become the LinkedIn of Web3. That's absolutely massive, right? Other side, if they do create this successful, engaging metaverse, again, this is going to be absolutely huge. This will be like, I don't know, Facebook, but in Web3 in a good way. And then Steady Stack Titans, where they've been already delivering a ton of value. They have huge plans. I mean, check out their website, go through everything that's listed there. Check out their Discord. They have part of Discord which you can access even if you don't hold a Titan. And yeah, I think the value there is immense, and the belief, the trust in the team is huge. And that's one of the important things. If we look at all those projects, they all actually have proper successful business owners behind them, not just some random degen who launched a project because they made some money on crypto and then they thought they would just launch a 10K collection of something, but actually proper business owners, people who are experienced in running businesses, and they know also how to then take those businesses to the next level. I think that's what will make those projects extremely successful. So yeah, that's it from me for today. Hope you find it interesting. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.